In December 1913, following the sudden death of lawyer Melvin Couch, investigators searching his Monticello, New York office made a strange discovery. Behind a concealed wall panel, they found a secret room and a woman who had been living inside it. The national press characterized Adelaide Branch as a hidden woman. They dismissed her as a lowly traveling book agent, a tragic figure caught in the middle of a sensational scandal. Following a brief detention in the Sullivan County Jail, Adelaide packed her few belongings and left town. She effectively vanished from the public record. Then, in 1916, a writer named Mary A. Douglas began appearing in major national journals, publishing sophisticated short fiction and essays. While tabloids had sold the image of a ruined, helpless woman, the literary world was now reading an articulate, progressive critic. This shift began 20 years earlier, in a set of academic records Adelaide left behind long before the news cameras arrived in Monticello. In 1893, 20 years before the scandal, a 20-year-old Adelaide Branch enrolled at Oswego Normal School, a premier institution for professional teacher training. Her appointment documentation includes a formal recommendation verifying her moral character, accompanied by a candidate statement completed in her own steady handwriting. The form also contains a certificate of proficiency. To enter the program, Adelaide had to prove her academic baseline by passing state examinations in arithmetic, grammar, and geography. Once enrolled, she excelled in the core academic subjects. Her transcripts from 1895 to 1897 show scores of 90 in literature and rhetoric, a 92 in history, and a 90 in algebra. Her highest recorded grade was a 96 in didactics, the science and art of teaching, which requires a mastery of communication and audience engagement. Although illness forced her to leave Oswego before completing her degree, these records prove she possessed a high-level classical liberal arts intellect long before she ever reached Monticello. Adelaide continued her professional development after leaving Oswego. In 1903, the state awarded her a first-grade certificate, the highest teaching license available in New York at the time. She spent the next several years managing one-room schoolhouses across rural Otsego and Orange counties, handling all subjects and grade levels alone. She used her isolation for intense study. Working independently, she achieved fluency in French and taught herself shorthand. She spent her evenings reading modern literature and drama, immersing herself in the works of Henrik Ibsen and Maurice Maeterlinck. These years as a teacher served as a field test for the communication skills she would later use to navigate the professional world. Moving to New York City, Adelaide adopted the name Mary A. Douglas. This pseudonym allowed her to shed her past and secure professional work. Using the shorthand she had taught herself, she found work as a stenographer and editor. This role gave her entry into the city's active progressive reform circles. She began collaborating with prominent radicals like Upton Sinclair. Sinclair recognized her abilities, praising the quality of her mind and her writing. She eventually relocated to Washington, D.C., living in the shadow of Capitol Hill while continuing her literary work. The Douglas identity functioned as a practical barrier, allowing her to be evaluated for her professional output rather than her history. The 96 she earned in didactics found its application in her 1917 essay, What the World Owes to Spinsters, a persuasive defense of women living outside traditional marriage. Her self-directed studies in French and literature allowed her to publish polished fiction in journals like Book News Monthly. Her writing focused on critiques of marriage and gender roles. She was actively shaping her own persona, rather than retreating into obscurity. This transformation was possible because of the academic training she had acquired years earlier. When the national press attempted to define Adelaide Branch through scandal, she used the skills acquired at Oswego to write a different version of herself. She survived, ultimately, by becoming an author.